they were trying to compel people to say he was the greatest. Michael Jordan didn't say that about himself. Kobe Bryant didn't say that about himself. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't say that about himself. Bill Russell didn't say that about himself. Tim Duncan didn't say that about himself. Nobody said that. Nobody but him.
Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. It's the most exhausted conversation in sports media, but it's also the most necessary because despite all the noise, the stats, the legacy worship, and the highlight reels, there's only one man who continues to stand alone at the summit of greatness, Stephen A. Smith has had enough of the excuses, the narratives, and the desperation from LeBron's camp, trying to manufacture a legacy that simply does not measure up. Jordan is not just the greatest basketball player of all time, he is the ultimate standard of excellence. Every time LeBron breaks a record, wins a game, or scores 40, people run to social media with hashtags and banners screaming GOAT. But Stephen A. is here to remind everyone, Jordan already did that and he did it better, in less time, and without asking for anyone's validation. This breakdown presents 12 thunderous quotes from Stephen A. Smith that dismantle the LeBron GOAT narrative piece by piece. Each quote is a sledgehammer of truth, pounding away at the myth that LeBron ever came close to what Jordan built.
Michael Jordan was the first 40-year-old to drop 40. That's number one. Number two, LeBron James is in his 22nd season. That was the 78th time in his career he has scored over 40.
Michael Jordan was the first 40-year-old in NBA history to drop 40 points in a game. That's not just about scoring, it's about defying age, defying time, and proving that excellence never dies when it's embedded in your DNA. Jordan walked away from the game and came back not once, but twice, and still dominated the court with elegance and savagery. Meanwhile, LeBron James, in his 22nd season, recently dropped his 78th 40-point game. That sounds impressive, until you realize he's done it across a span so wide it almost turns into a longevity award. Smith's brilliance here is in the contrast. Jordan did more in fewer seasons. He didn't need 2 decades to prove he was the alpha. LeBron has needed this long just to maintain relevance in the conversation, and still the numbers fall short. Jordan's greatness wasn't a slow burn. It was a meteor that scorched the league. LeBron can have 1-4-0-4-0-point games, but when one man does it at age 40 to make history, while the other does it in year 22 without catching the ghost he's been chasing, the debate ends right there.
Michael Jordan played 7 less seasons. How many 40-point games did Michael Jordan have? 173.
Smith isn't disrespecting LeBron. He's just reminding everyone that Michael Jordan never needed time on his side. He was time itself. Even at 40, he was still capable of pulling out performances that sent chills down spines. That's greatness you can't measure with just numbers. That's legacy, and LeBron has yet to match it. Michael Jordan was the first 40-year-old to drop 40. That's number 1. LeBron James, in his 22nd season, just posted his 78th career 40-point game. Stephen A. Smith hits harder when he drops the most devastating statistical hammer of them all. Michael Jordan played 7 fewer seasons than LeBron James and still managed to record 173 games with 40 or more points. Let that number breathe for a second. Jordan, in just 15 seasons, 2 of which he was easing back into the game after retirement, produced a staggering volume of domination. He didn't just outscore players. He did it with efficiency, precision, and a killer instinct that turned every game into a war. LeBron, with all his accolades, extended prime, and access to better sports science and recovery, still trails in 40-point performances. What does that tell you? That LeBron has had more time to catch up, and still hasn't. That he's been playing catch-up his entire career, despite having more minutes, more possessions, and more years.
Telling you it's going to be very, very bad for you if you keep bringing up Jordan, comparing LeBron James.
He couldn't generate the same consistent level of individual offensive destruction that Jordan could. Stephen A. His point is crystal clear. The numbers don't lie. Jordan did more in less time, and he did it when defenses were nastier, when hand-checking was legal, and when fouls actually meant something. LeBron has been great, but he has had every advantage and still could not surpass what Jordan did in a shorter, more compact, and more demanding era. People want to act like LeBron's longevity is a weapon. It's not. It's a necessity. He needed more years just to be in the conversation. And even then, he still falls short. Jordan's 1-7-3-4-0-point games in fewer seasons is not just a stat. It is a condemnation of any argument that claims LeBron has passed him.
Anything that Michael Jordan wanted to do, he didn't spend the first 8 years shivering. You understand? He didn't have to go to South Beach to learn how to win.
Stephen A. turns his fire toward one of the most embarrassing truths about LeBron James's career. He spent his first 8 years in the league underachieving. Jordan didn't need a learning curve. He didn't need training wheels. He didn't need to form a super team in South Beach to finally win a title. He came into the league like a storm. He walked into Chicago and turned a franchise known for losing into a dynasty. LeBron had to leave Cleveland. He had to partner with 2 other all-stars. He had to learn how to win after failing repeatedly on his own. Smith's words are not just about the rings, they're about the mentality. Jordan didn't wait to become great. He was great the moment he stepped on an NBA court. LeBron, for all his potential, needed guidance, mentorship, and structure before he could become what the media crowned him to be. Jordan forged his path through fire. LeBron built his with blueprints and alliances, and yet, people still try to put them on the same pedestal. It's laughable. Smith is reminding us that greatness is not about how you finish. It's about how you walk into the arena. Jordan walked in with a crown. Nobody gave him, and he never gave it back. LeBron had to borrow his. That difference is not just about pride, it's about legacy. Jordan created his own path. LeBron followed the blueprint, and that's why one will always be the blueprint and the other just a product of it.
All I know is your man got 7 more years in the league and still chasing Jordan. He ain't 7 more years. He don't even have more rings than Jordan, and he has 7 more years. Listen, he's been in the league long enough that I was in college. And still, he ain't catch Jordan.
Stephen A. Smith's retort to Shannon Sharp was short, but it was devastating. LeBron James has had 7 more years in the league than Michael Jordan, and he's still chasing the crown. That one sentence carries the weight of an entire legacy-crushing argument. What Stephen is really saying here is that despite all the time, all the opportunities, all the games, all the minutes, and all the resources, LeBron still hasn't achieved what Jordan did in a much shorter window. In sports, longevity is usually a bonus, a cherry on top. But for LeBron, longevity has become a lifeline. It's the only thing keeping him in the GOAT conversation. Jordan didn't need to build a Vine-year resume. He conquered the league in 15 seasons, and even that is deceptive because he spent 2 of those years away from the game, and another 2 in Washington when he was supposed to be retired for good. The heart of Stephen A.'s message is this: you can run from the facts, but the facts will still catch you. LeBron has spent his career chasing a legacy he could never create, and the tragedy of it all is that he's had more than enough time. If he were truly greater than Jordan, he would have already passed him in rings, in moments, in mythology. But instead, what we have is a man still trying to validate his career 2 decades in. Jordan never asked for validation. He didn't chase ghosts, because he was the ghost. LeBron's entire legacy hinges on the fact that he's still trying. That alone proves Jordan did it better, faster, and more definitively. Smith's point is simple, but it cuts like a blade. If 7 extra years can't get LeBron to Jordan's level, maybe he never belonged there in the first place. All I know is your man got 7 more years in the league, and he's still chasing Jordan. 7 more years. He still doesn't have more. Stephen A. Smith then drops a line that's as funny as it is cutting. LeBron's been in the league longer than I've been in college, and he still hasn't caught Jordan. This is the moment the tone shifts from analytical to flat-out ridicule. What Stephen A. is doing here is dragging the absurdity of the GOAT debate into the light. LeBron's defenders love to talk about his greatness, durability, and consistency. But what does it say when someone has had over 2 decades to surpass a man who did it all in barely a decade and still can't? It says LeBron's longevity is a smokescreen, not a strength. It's a distraction from the truth that Jordan's impact wasn't spread out. It hit like a thunderclap and changed basketball forever. LeBron's timeline has highs, but also many lows. Losses in the finals, disappointing exits, missed free throws, botched defensive plays, and a revolving door of media narratives just to keep the GOAT dream alive. Jordan's career was surgical. It was a perfectly written script. 6 trips to the finals, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. Period. LeBron's story keeps shifting. First, it was about chasing rings, then stats, then longevity. Now it's about redefining what greatness even means, just so he can finally be included. Stephen A. laughs at this nonsense. And so should we. Because if you have to redefine greatness to fit yourself into the conversation, You were never there to begin with. Jordan defined greatness. LeBron is still looking for it. Stephen A. uses his own timeline college as a metaphor to show how ridiculously long this chase has dragged on. And the result is still the same. LeBron hasn't caught up, not in accomplishments, not in impact, not in grace. Been in the league long enough that I was in college, and still he ain't caught him. Then Stephen A. drops a line soaked in sarcasm and loaded with truth. Everybody already recognizes LeBron as one of the top 3 players in the history of basketball. What more do you want? A diaper and a bib. That line isn't just a jab. It's a thunderous shot at the desperate coddling LeBron fans rely on just to keep his legacy afloat. What Stephen A. is saying isn't that LeBron isn't great. He's acknowledging that being top 3 is elite. But the problem comes when greatness becomes needy. LeBron fans want more than what's deserved. They want to rewrite history and elevate LeBron beyond the man who already defined greatness. Jordan didn't beg for respect. He didn't need the media to carry him. He didn't need fans to petition for his status. The world knew. Because the work was undeniable, LeBron's greatness, on the other hand, feels like a long campaign. Every milestone is followed by press conferences, debates, and carefully curated stats to force the narrative. See, he's the GOAT, and that's what Stephen A. is tired of. The neediness, the obsession with being labeled the greatest when the work doesn't support it. Jordan didn't ask. He showed, and because he showed, he didn't need his fans to throw tantrums or demand credit. When LeBron scored 30,000 career points, it wasn't enough to celebrate the achievement. The media instantly compared it to Jordan. Every LeBron accomplishment becomes a shadow boxing match with someone who already won the fight decades ago. That's why Stephen A. mocks it with the diaper and bib reference. Because this whole campaign for GOAT status feels infantile, it's needy, it's insecure, it's forced, and deep down even the most loyal LeBron fans know they're stretching. If LeBron were truly better, we wouldn't be begging for validation. But here we are 2 decades in, and still trying to make the argument stick. Jordan's greatness needs no defense. LeBron's greatness requires constant justification. And that's the difference. Stephen A. takes it further. There's only one player in the history of the game we compare LeBron to, and it's Michael Jordan. That alone tells you everything. It places Jordan at the top, the universal benchmark, the gold standard, because even in a league filled with legends Magic, Bird, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq, Duncan, no one gets brought into the GOAT war except LeBron and Jordan. And even then, Jordan isn't doing the chasing. He's the one being chased. That alone should end the discussion. Greatness doesn't seek comparison. It becomes the reference point. Jordan is the reference point. Always has been. Stephen A. isn't saying LeBron isn't phenomenal, but the fact that LeBron is always lined up against one man tells you who the real king is. And it isn't LeBron. It's the guy who made the league global. The one whose jersey still outsells every modern superstar. The one who went 6 for 6 the finals. No super team. No ring chasing. No drama. If LeBron had surpassed him, the conversation would have ended. But it hasn't. It never has. Instead, we get endless analysis, empty comparisons, and cherry-picked stats to prop up the illusion. Jordan never had to compete with anyone after retirement because no one dared. They knew better. LeBron's resume is rich in volume. Jordan's is rich in domination. There's a difference. One is about surviving. The other is about ruling. LeBron has spent years trying to inch closer to something Jordan had already conquered. And that desperation to be seen as equal just to be in the conversation proves how far away he still is. If you have to keep explaining why someone's better, maybe they're not. Stephen A. Smith doesn't let up. He rips the curtain down when he says it's not just about LeBron thinking he's the greatest. It's about the fact that people in his camp are going out of their way to compel others to say it. That's when the argument stops being about basketball and starts becoming about propaganda. No other legend in basketball history has needed such a public campaign to force their name into the GOAT conversation. Not Kobe, not Duncan, not Russell, not Kareem, and certainly not Jordan. What does that tell you? It tells you that LeBron's legacy, while filled with accomplishments, has always had an undercurrent of insecurity. If you're truly the greatest, you don't need to say it. You don't need others to push the narrative on your behalf. You just need to be it. Jordan didn't have an entourage demanding he be called the GOAT. He let his performances in the finals, his regular season dominance, and his killer instinct make the case LeBron's path to greatness feels like a PR campaign. Every year, someone close to him drops a quote about how he's already surpassed Jordan. It's tired, it's transparent, and it's telling. Stephen A. isn't accusing LeBron of lacking skill. He's accusing him of lacking the authenticity that defines true greatness. You can't force legacy. You earn it moment by moment, game by game. LeBron's career is being curated like a documentary in progress. The storytelling is constant. The image maintenance is exhausting. And the public declarations from his camp feel like desperation disguised as confidence. That's what separates him from the true icons. Jordan never had to plead for history to remember him. It just did. Stephen A. is pointing out that the very act of declaring yourself the GOAT, or having your team do it for you, is a disqualifier in itself. Greatness doesn't chase credit. It earns silence. It earns awe. It earns reverence without needing constant self-promotion. When LeBron's inner circle pushes this narrative, it feels hollow, it feels insecure, and most importantly, it feels forced. That's why, no matter how many stats LeBron puts up or how long he plays, he'll never reach Jordan's level. Because true greatness speaks for itself, LeBron's greatness always needs a microphone. Stephen A. continues dismantling the manufactured GOAT narrative by highlighting a core truth. True legends in basketball never had to proclaim their greatness. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 6 MVPs, more championships than LeBron, and a scoring record that stood for decades never stood up and screamed that he was the greatest. Bill Russell, 11 championships, never needed to sell himself. Tim Duncan, 5 rings. 2 MVPs, never had to shout into the void for validation. Yet LeBron and his camp seem obsessed with telling the world he's the greatest, as if they're afraid history won't agree unless they say it first. That obsession reveals a fundamental insecurity. Kareem, Russell, Duncan, they were content, letting their legacies speak through impact, results, and quiet dominance. LeBron's legacy, on the other hand, has been laced with an ongoing marketing effort to prop him up as more than what the basketball world has organically seen, and that's where Stephen A.'s words land with force. When the truly great players don't have to claim greatness, and the one chasing them constantly, does it becomes clear who's truly at the top. If LeBron were truly on their level, let alone above it, he wouldn't need the endless promotion, the social media highlights posted by his own team, or the constant push in the media to rewrite basketball history. Instead of trusting the legacy he's built, LeBron keeps trying to steer it. That's not how greatness works. Legends don't chase status. They let it come to them. Jordan let it come to him. He didn't have to scream, "I'm the greatest." He didn't have to sit in interviews nudging others to say it either. He played, he conquered, and history bowed. LeBron, by contrast, continues to push, to sell, to curate. The result is a legacy that, while massive, still feels incomplete. Stephen A. Smith reminds everyone, when the greatest players of all time never asked for the label, the one who keeps begging for it never really had it. Stephen A. sharpens the sword even more when he compares LeBron's loud proclamations to the humble silence of Steph Curry and Ray Allen. He points out that Steph, unanimously regarded as the greatest shooter in NBA history, never once declared it himself. Ray Allen, whose three-point record stood for years, also never proclaimed himself the best. That's how greatness is supposed to work. It's recognized by others, not declared by oneself. But LeBron has broken that code. His self-anointing as the GOAT, combined with his camp's persistent campaign, screams of desperation and self-doubt. That's why the comparison to Jordan isn't just unfair, it's embarrassing. Jordan never said he was the greatest. He didn't need to. People saw it and passed it down like gospel. Jordan's greatness became mythology because it came from performance, not from promotion. But with LeBron, every milestone is accompanied by a statement. Every big game is followed by a narrative trying to cement his GOAT status. When you have to declare something over and over, it usually means the people aren't buying it. That's what Stephen A. is hammering home. That LeBron's need to scream into the void about his greatness undermines the very greatness he's trying to claim. And when players like Steph Curry, who revolutionized basketball, have the humility to stay silent and let their body of work do the talking, it puts LeBron's behavior under a brighter, more critical spotlight. The greatest shooter ever doesn't say a word, but the self-declared GOAT won't stop talking. That's the difference. That's the problem. That's why Jordan remains untouched. Because Jordan understood that true greatness doesn't need words. It needs results. It needs rings. It needs killer instinct. It needs a legacy that doesn't come from a podcast or a press release, but from unforgettable moments etched into the soul of the game. LeBron may have stats, but Jordan has a legacy that doesn't need a narrator. And that's why, as Stephen A. says without hesitation, the debate has never been real, because only one of them has ever needed to keep reminding the world of how great he supposedly is.